So hi everyone, welcome to the series of lectures on signals and systems. So we started the correlation of the signals concept. So we completed the definition, the types of the correlation. So we also completed the autocorrelation function, so which is your ACF. So with respect to the energy signal and with respect to the power signals we completed. So we also completed their properties also. So with respect to the autocorrelation function. So in this class we are going to discuss the cross correlation function, so which is your CCF. So with respect to the energy signal and with respect to the power signal, so we also discuss their properties also. So in this class we are going to discuss the autocorrelation, the cross correlation function with respect to the power signals. So later we will discuss the cross correlation function of the energy signals. First we will see the cross correlation function of the power signals, and we also discuss their properties. So after that we discuss the cross correlation function with respect to the energy signals. So first we will discuss the cross correlation function. So what is cross correlation function of the power signal? So later we discuss the same concept with respect to the energy signal also. So the cross correlation function, so is nothing but, so to define this cross correlation function, let us consider two signals, two periodic signals, because we are going to define this cross correlation function for power signals. So let us consider two periodic signals, x1t and x2t. So both are having the same period, same time period. So let us consider the time period of the two signals which are periodic signals. All periodic signals are power signals. That's why I consider two periodic signals with the same time period. Now, so after considering the two signals, the cross correlation function, so that is represented by R12 of tau. Here we use the subscript 1,2. The subscript 1,2 denotes it is a cross correlation function, correlation of the first signal with respect to the second signal. And how can you find out this R12 of tau? So using this expression, limit t tends to infinity. So whatever we discussed with respect to the cross autocorrelation, same formulas holds good. So limit t tends to infinity. Here 1 by t we have, so integral, so minus t by 2 to t by 2. So we are defining the cross correlation function of the power signal. So while considering the power signal, use this formula. So limit t tends to infinity 1 by t integral minus t by 2 to t by 2. Here x1 of t, so that is the first signal. The second signal, you just take the time shifting version of the second signal by a tau, delay at tau. So with respect to dt, we are going to integrate the product. Now, so whatever the signals I considered here, x1 of t and x2 of t are complex signals. So these are your complex signals. So let us consider the complex signals. So for the complex signals, so the cross correlation of the first signal with respect to the second signal is, you just use the conjugate for the second signal. You observe the formula. Here the cross correlation of function R12, we are going to write the formula for R12. So whenever you are going to write the formula for R12, so you just take the conjugate of the second signal. You just take the conjugate of the second signal. So with respect to the R12, here you just take the conjugate of the second signal. So that's why I take the conjugate of the second signal. If the signals are complex, if the signals are real, no need to take this conjugate value. So I can rewrite this formula in this fashion also. So which also gives the same results. So integral limit t tends to infinity. Here 1 by t. So integral minus t by 2 to t by 2. So you just take the shift of the first signal. You can take shift on either of the signals. So you can take shift on second signal, or you can take the shift on the first signal. So the cross correlation function is nothing but, it is a measure of similarity between a signal and the time shifting version of the another signal. So this is your signal, so this is your time shifting of the signal. So to measure the similarity, so you just perform this integral operation. Based on the value obtained from this integral operation, so we can say the similarity of the two functions. So integral minus t by 2 to t by 2, x1 of t minus tau, since it is r12 of tau, so you just take the conjugate of the second signal. So it is x2 of t. So with respect to dt, you are going to integrate the result. So this is the cross correlation function of the power signal. How can we write this formula? So that is very important. So first we will consider the two signals which are the periodic signals. Which are the periodic signals? So with the same period, I consider the two periodic signals because we are going to define this cross correlation function with respect to the power signals. So whenever if you take the periodic signals, all periodic signals are power signals. That's why I consider the periodic signals x1t and x2t. So I want to measure the similarity between these two signals. So with the time period is capital T, and one more thing is these two signals are complex signals. Complex signals. Now, when it comes to the definition of the cross correlation function, so it is denoted by R12 of tau. Correlate the first signal with respect to the second signal. So using this formula, I can write this expression. So which is limit t tends to infinity 1 by t integral minus t by 2 to t by 2. So x1 of t into, so you just take the conjugate for the second signal because it is R12 of tau. So if you take this formula also, we will get the same results. So whatever the result obtained from this formula, you will get the same results from this formula. The only difference is, so the shifting parameters. You can take shift of the first signal or the second signal. So in this formula, I can take the shift of the first signal. So you just take the conjugate of the second signal itself because it is R12 of tau. This is your R12 of tau, which is the cross correlation function of the power signal. So when comes to the R21 of tau, so how can we define this R21 of tau? The cross correlation of second signal with respect to the first signal. So it is nothing but the measure of similarity between a signal and the time shifting version of the another signal. Here we consider the two signals. In the case of autocorrelation, we consider the same signal and the time shifting version of that signal in the case of autocorrelation. But in the case of cross correlation, we consider two signals. So it is a R21 of tau. So when we consider R21 of tau, you just take the conjugate on the first signal because it is R21 of tau. So correlation of second with respect to the first. Therefore, you just take the conjugate of the first signal. So it is x2 of t minus tau dt. So this is the cross correlation of second signal with respect to the first signal. Cross correlation of the power signal. So I can rewrite this formula in this fashion also. So whenever it is R21 of tau, you just take the conjugate of first signal. Whenever it is R12 of tau, you just take the conjugate of the second signal, whether it is a time shifting or not. So you just observe this formula, limit t tends to infinity. So it is 1 by t, so integral minus t by 2 to t by 2 here. So instead of x1 of t, I just take the shift on the first signal. So I just take this shift on the first signal. You can take the shift on the first signal. You just take the shift on this first signal. So it is x1 of t minus tau conjugate. So you can take x2 of t as it is. So do the integration with respect to the dt. But the conjugate is, you should take the conjugate for only first signal because it is R21 of tau. So using these two formulas, we will get the same result. Using these two formulas, we will get the same results. So one thing you should note here is, from the above two formulas, you should note here is, so here R12 of tau is not equal to R21 of tau. So both the formulas will give the different results. R12 of tau is not equal to R21 of tau. That means the cross correlation function does not follow the commutative property. So R12 of tau is not equal to R21 of tau. So that means if you calculate the cross correlation R12 of tau, so it is not equal to the R21 of tau. So whenever the signals you consider x1 of t and x2 of t, here the signals are complex signals. In the case of the complex signals, here R12 of tau is not equal to R21 of tau. So but if the signals are real signals, so if I considered x1 of t and x2 of t, so which are real signals? Here the signals are real. In the first case, I considered the signals are complex signals. Whenever the signals are complex, we use the conjugate. So if the signals are not complex, no need to use the conjugate. So this is R12 of tau. How can we write R12 of tau? So this is cross correlation function of the energy signals, of the power signals. Whenever the signal is power, you just take this formula. So integral minus t by 2 to t by 2. So you can take x1 of t and you just shift the second signal. It is a measure of similarity, so between a signal and the time shifting version of the another signal. So that measure of similarity can be obtained by using this, the result obtained from this formula. So if R12 of tau is more, we will get more value. That means there is a more similarity between the signals. So if R12 of tau is less, very less value, that means the measure of similarity is very less. That means there is no resemblance of the two signals. So we can rewrite this formula in this fashion also. Limit, you can take the shift on either of the x1 on x2. So limit t tends to infinity 1 by t integral. So minus t by 2 to t by 2. Here you should take the shift on the first signal. So that is equal to x2 of t into dt. Now what is this formula? This formula is nothing but what? So R21 of tau, R21 of tau. So that means what? If the signals are real signals, here R12 of tau is equal to R21 of tau. Because
sir 210 dominate sir. Screen కనిపించట్లేదు sir.
So what is your roll number?
210.
210.
Yes sir.
Screen is not visible for you.
Yes.
So what about the remaining students? Number 4.
Screen is visible.
Number 3.
The screen is visible.
But 210 saying it is not visible. Like that he is saying. Number 4.
Yes sir, not visible. Okay, now visible sir.
Are you disturbing my recording? Entire recording. Only 10 you are not visible. For you only it is not visible. Number 10. No? For you only it is not visible. Number 10. So what about remaining number 7?
Visible, sir.
So okay, this is the cross correlation function of the power signal. So you just remember the formula for the cross correlation function of the power signals. So if you know the autocorrelation, then the definition of the power signal is very easy. If you know the autocorrelation of the energy signal and power signals, so the rest of the things is same, very similar for the cross correlation function also. This is the formula we are going to use for the cross correlation of the power signals. Whenever the signals are power signals, given signals are power signals with same period time t. So the cross correlation is defined in this fashion: R12 of tau, this is R21 of tau. So whenever it is R12, you just take the conjugate of the second signal. The second signal you consider the time shifting version, or you can consider in normal form. So like that, here I consider the time shifting, here I consider only in the normal form. So this is your R21 of tau. So if the cross correlation is R21 of tau, you just take the first signal conjugate. The second signal is time shifting, or you can take the time shifting for the first signal, and the second signal is as it is. So this is your cross correlation function of the power signal. So remember here, whenever the signals are complex, so this relation is not valid. R12 of tau is not equal to R21 of tau. So whenever the signals are real signals, so we can validate this relation. R12 of tau is exactly equal to the R21 of tau for the real signals. Now this is the cross correlation function of the power signals. This is the formula we are going to use to calculate the cross correlation function of the power signals. So when it comes to the properties, so next we are going to discuss the properties of the cross correlation function of the power signals. When it comes to the first property, so the property number 1, so the cross correlation function exhibits the conjugate symmetry property. So already you know what is conjugate symmetry property. So it is R21 of conjugate minus tau. So this is the first property of the cross correlation function of the power signals. It exhibits the conjugate symmetry property. So conjugate symmetry means this signal, the cross correlation function satisfies this relation, that is conjugate symmetry. Your cross correlation function so exhibits the conjugate symmetry property. The cross correlation function, which is R12 of tau, exhibits the conjugate symmetry property. So whenever it exhibits the conjugate symmetry property, it satisfies this relation. So this is already you know how we are going to prove. So in the case of energy signals for autocorrelation, we already proved this property. So on the similar lines also we are going to prove this property. So only thing is you should take the formula for R12 of tau, R21 of tau. So I just write the proof here. So how we are going to prove this one? So your left hand side is R12 of tau. So whenever it is R12 of tau, so what is the formula? So limit t tends to infinity, it is 1 by t. So integral minus t by 2 to t by 2 here. So x1 of t into x2 conjugate of t minus tau, so dt. So this is your R12 of tau. Now what is your right hand side? Your right hand side is R21 of minus tau conjugate. So for that you just take R21 of tau, the formula for R21 of tau. This is your left hand side. I just want to prove this R12 of tau is equal to R21 conjugate of minus tau. For that I consider R12 of tau. So this is your R12 of tau. Now I am going to consider this R21 of minus tau conjugate. For that you just take R21 of tau. So what is your R21 of tau? So I want to prove right hand side equal to left hand side. For that I consider R21 of tau is equal to integral minus t by 2 to t by 2. R21 of tau is what? Here. So x1 you just take the conjugate of the first signal and you just take the time shifting version of the second signal. So that is your R21 of tau. But I want R21 of minus tau conjugate. First you take the conjugate of this R21 conjugate of tau. Our cross correlation function exhibits the conjugate symmetry. So you just take the conjugate on both sides of the above equation. So that we will get so x1 conjugate of conjugate is what? So x1 of t and x2 conjugate of t minus tau dt. So this is your R21 conjugate of tau. I want R21 conjugate of minus tau. So you just replace tau by minus tau in the above expression, so that I can get R21 conjugate of so minus tau, that is equal to limit t tends to infinity 1 by t. So wherever tau is there, so you just replace tau by minus tau. So x2 conjugate of t plus tau dt. Now observe this formula. This is nothing but what? So this is nothing but your R12 of tau. You can take you can observe the R12 of tau formula. So you can take right hand side shifting operation or left hand side shifting operation. The result is same. Only thing is you just take the conjugate of the second signal whenever it is R12 of tau. Here in this formula, if we observe here, the conjugate is given for x2. Therefore it is R12 of tau. But here the shift is the left hand side shifting operation. But here the shift is right hand side shifting operation. No problem. Whatever the shift, either the shift is right hand or left hand, both the formulas will give the same result. Therefore from the above, so what is the conclusion? The conclusion is R12 of tau. So that is must be equal to so R21 conjugate of minus tau. So whenever it happens like this, the signal, the cross correlation function of your power signal exhibits the conjugate symmetry property. Conjugate symmetry means it satisfies this relation. That is R12 of tau equal to R21 conjugate of minus tau. So that is the first property of the cross correlation function of the power signal. So when comes to the second property, of the cross correlation function, here the second property is important. So the second property states that so if we evaluate the cross correlation function at tau equal to 0, so you should, if you get R12 of 0 equal to 0, so if you get R12 of 0 equal to 0, so when you evaluate, so listen carefully the statement. So when you evaluate your cross correlation function, which is R12 of tau, So at tau equal to 0. So at tau equal to 0 means what? So it is R12 of 0. So if R12 of 0 is equal to 0 is equal to 0, that means if I get R12 of 0 equal to 0, that means the meaning of this statement is, so the signal you are considering, so the x1 of t and x2 of t signals, so both the signals are orthogonal to each other. So both the signals you consider are orthogonal to each other. So I will tell you what is orthogonal to each other. So you just so listen carefully. So when you evaluate the cross correlation function, set tau equal to 0. So if I get a 0, if I get a 0 value of the cross correlation function, so that the meaning of the statement is the signals you are considering here, you are considering x1 of t and x2 of t, so both the signals are orthogonal to each other, both the signals are orthogonal to each other. So that is the meaning of this statement. So so what is orthogonal to each other? So what are orthogonal signals? So orthogonal signals means, so if you take the integral product of the two signals x1 of t and x2 conjugate of t, because both the signals are complex signals. So if the integral product of these two signals is equal to 0, then the two signals are orthogonal to each other. So that is the meaning of orthogonal signals. That is the meaning of orthogonal signals. Here listen the statement very carefully. So if we evaluate the cross correlation function, which is R12 of tau at tau equal to 0. So if I get R12 of 0 equal to 0, if I get R12 of 0 equal to 0, that means the cross correlation function which is evaluated at the origin is equal to 0. So the meaning of this statement is indirectly the two signals we consider are orthogonal to each other. So whenever the signals are orthogonal, the integral product of these two signals, over the range of the time period, here the time period is minus infinity to plus infinity, over the range of the time must be equal to 0 if the signals are orthogonal. So that is the mathematical expression, so which is required to check whether the given signals are orthogonal signals or not. So in other words, so the meaning of orthogonality is nothing but, so when we pass two signals, that is our x1 of t and x2 of t through a common channel, here the common channel, let us consider it is an S system. So listen carefully, the meaning of the orthogonality I will tell you. So when we pass two signals x1 of t and x2 of t, which are continuous time signals, which are periodic signals with period capital T, both are having the same time period. So when we pass two signals through a common channel, so this is a common channel, so if I get the same signals at the receiving end without the distortion, so without overlapping of these two signals, when we pass these two signals through the common channel, if the two signals are not overlapped, if the two signals are not overlapped at the receiving end, we will get the same signals. If the signals are overlapped, those signals are not orthogonal to each other. So if the signals are not overlapped when we pass these two signals through the common channel, then the two signals are orthogonal to each other. So if there is no overlapping happen, so when we pass these two signals through the common channel, then we said those two signals are the orthogonal signals, orthogonal to each other. That means we will get the same signals at the receiving end. So whenever the overlapping happen, we don't get the x1 of t and x2 of t. Whatever the signal we send at the sending end, we don't get the same signals at the receiving end. If we don't get the same signals at the receiving end, those signals are not orthogonal. If I get the same signals at the receiving end, those signals are orthogonal to each other. So the meaning is, if I get the same signals, meaning is that these two signals are not overlapping with each other when we pass these two signals through a common channels. So if the signals are orthogonal, it must satisfy this condition. This is very important condition. So you just remember this condition. So in the examination, the question is given like this. So x1 of t, one signal is given to you, and x2 of t, another signal is given to you. So if I consider x1 of t is 2, if I consider x2 of t is 1 minus 2t, like that two signals are given to you in the examination. Now they are asking, check whether the given signals are orthogonal signals or not over the range of the time period, like that the time period range is given. So during this range of the time period, you just check these two signals are orthogonal to each other. So for that, you just take the integral product over the range of the time period. This is the given range of the time period. So you just take the integral product of these two signals over the range of the time period, so which is x1 of t. so x2 of t into dt. So if I get this integral product over the range of this time period is equal to 0, so the meaning is x1 of t and x2 of t, your signals, both signals are orthogonal to each other. If I can't get the integral product is not equal to 0, the meaning is these two signals are not orthogonal to each other. So if I get the integral product over the range of this time period is equal to 0, your two signals are orthogonal to each other. That is the meaning of the orthogonal signals. That is the meaning of the orthogonal signals. To check the orthogonality of the two signals, so you just perform this integral operation. Here I won't consider the conjugate because the two signals I consider are the real signals. The real signals. If the signals are complex signals, you just consider the conjugate for either of the signals. Either of the signals. If the signals are real, no need to take the conjugate. So this is the condition required to check the orthogonality of the given signals. To check the orthogonality of the given signals. So when it comes to this statement property 2, so if we evaluate the autocorrelation function, so the autocorrelation function is R12 of tau, so which is limit t tends to infinity 1 by t, so integral minus t by 2 to t by 2. Here we have, so x1 of t, so x2 conjugate of, so t minus tau dt. So this is the cross correlation function R12 of tau. So you just evaluate this R12 of tau at tau equal to 0. So at tau equal to 0, so we will get to R12 of 0. So what is R12 of tau? So limit t tends to infinity, here 1 by t, so integral minus t by 2 to t by 2, here x1 of t into x2 conjugate of t dt. So that is the if tau is replaced by 0. If tau is replaced by 0, x2 of t minus tau conjugate becomes x2 conjugate of t. Now how can we get the 0 value? R12 of 0, how can we get 0? So if I take this integral product, so over this range of the time period, so x2 conjugate of t dt, so that is equal to 0. See, if the integral product in this formula, if the integral product over the range of the time period minus infinity to plus infinity is equal to 0, if the integral product is equal to 0, then R12 of 0 becomes 0, then R12 of 0 becomes 0. If R12 of 0 becomes 0 means this integral product must be equal to 0. If the integral product must be equal to 0 means the two signals are orthogonal to each other. These two signals are orthogonal to each other. That is the meaning of this statement. So if we evaluate the cross correlation function at tau equal to 0, so if I get a 0 value, meaning is your two signals are orthogonal to each other. So this is the required condition to check orthogonality of the two signals, to check the orthogonality of the two signals. So this is the second property of the cross correlation function of the power signals. In the similar lines, we are going to define the cross correlation function for the energy signals also. Now when it comes to the third property, so the cross correlation function, so which is R12 of tau. So if you take the Fourier transform of R12 of tau, so you just get, so this is the fourth property. So if I take the Fourier transform of R12 of tau, so I can get x1 of j omega into x2 conjugate of j omega. So this is the Fourier transform pair. If you take the Fourier transform of the cross correlation function R12 of tau, so you should get what? So you should get the product of two signals in the frequency domain. One is x1 of j omega, that is multiplied by x2 conjugate of j omega. So that is the result we obtained. So this is the third property is correlation theorem, what we called as correlation. So the correlation theorem. So this is also very important. State and prove the correlation theorem with respect to the cross correlation function of the two signals. Like that in the examination the question is given. This is the correlation theorem. The correlation theorem states that, so if you take the Fourier transform of the cross correlation function of the power signals, so you should get the multiplication of the two signals in the frequency domain. So in that the first signal you take the conjugate, because it is R12 of tau. Therefore you take the conjugate for the second signal. So this is the result we get from the Fourier transform of R12 of tau. So if I take the Fourier transform of R21 of tau, so if I take the Fourier transform of R21 of tau, So what is the result I can get? So the results I can get is x1 of j omega star into x2 of j omega. So this is the result obtained if you take the Fourier transform of the cross correlation function R21 of tau. Since it is R21 of tau, you just take the conjugate for x1. No need to take the conjugate for x2. x2 conjugate is taken only for R12 of tau. So if you find out this R12 of tau, the Fourier transform, no need to find out this R21 of tau. So using this, you can easily rewrite this expression. Since it is R21 of tau, you just take the conjugate. So this is your correlation theorem. Correlation theorem states that, so if you take the Fourier transform of the cross correlation function, so if you get the product of the two signals in the frequency domain, so in that the second signal is conjugate of the spectrum of the second signal. So x1 of j omega multiplied by x2 conjugate of j omega. Like that I can get the result. Like that I can get the result. So this is nothing but the correlation theorem. So we can easily prove this theorem. So this is called the correlation theorem. This is called the correlation theorem. How can you prove this theorem? So to prove this theorem, first you should know the Fourier transform of R12 of tau. So how can we apply the R12 of tau? The Fourier transform of R12 of tau is what? So integral minus infinity to plus infinity. Here the signal is R12 of tau into e power, so minus j omega tau into d tau. So that is the Fourier transform formula. So in this formula you just replace R12 of tau. So already you know the cross correlation function of the power signal. So what is the formula for cross correlation of the power signal? So the formula is, you just substitute, so limit t tends to infinity, this is 1 by t, so integral minus infinity to plus infinity here. So here we will get to x1 of t, so you just take the conjugate of the second signal with the shifted version of the second signal, so with respect to dt. So this is your cross correlation function R12 of tau. So you just take the e power minus j omega tau into d tau. So whatever the procedure we do in the case of the autocorrelation function, same procedure. Again we are repeatedly doing the same procedure. Now how can you simplify this expression? Here it is minus t by 2 to t by 2 in the limits. Now if you apply limit t tends to infinity, these limits are integral minus infinity to plus infinity. Like that the limits are going to be changed. Now here I am doing the modification for this expression. I just multiply e power j omega t by dividing by the same factor, so that the result is same. So if you do the simplification for this, you should get what? So limit t tends to infinity 1 by t. So you should get x1 of j omega. Like that you can get the result. So x2 conjugate of j omega. So like that you can get the result. You can check the result. So the procedure is same. If you take the Fourier transform of the autocorrelation function, so whatever the procedure we are doing for the correlation function, autocorrelation function, for finding the Fourier transform, the same procedure you can follow, and at the end you will get this answer. At the end you will get this answer. So I just modify this formula. You just use this limit t tends to infinity 1 by t. So that is the result we obtained. That is the result we obtained. See, limit t tends to infinity 1 by t, x1 of j omega multiplied by x2 conjugate of j omega. So this is the result obtained. So if you take the Fourier transform of the cross correlation function R12 of tau. So if I take R21 of tau, I can get the result is like this. So here limit t tends to infinity 1 by t, here I will get. In the result I can get in limit t tends to infinity 1 by t. So x1 conjugate of j omega into x2 of j omega. So like that I can get the answer. Here limit t tends to infinity 1 by t is remaining. Everything is the procedure we are going to do. After that we will get x1 of j omega multiplied by the x2 conjugate of j omega. Like that I can get the answer. This is the correlation theorem. So this is about the cross correlation function with respect to the power signal, So this is all.